Russia-Ukraine Live. Russia accuses Pentagon of using Ukraine as bioweapon testing ground. The Russia-Ukraine war has entered day 107, leaving 12.8 million people displaced in Ukraine. As Russia continued to pound pockets of East Ukraine, Poland's president will undertake a journey across Europe to convince EU countries to support Ukraine's membership bid. Meanwhile, noting the looming global food crisis, Russian FM Sergei Lavrov agreed to ensure the safe exit of ships from Ukrainian ports. Russia accuses Pentagon of using Ukraine as bioweapon testing ground. In the latest development amid the ongoing war in Eastern Europe, a Russian lawmaker alleged that Pentagon used Ukraine as a testing ground for the lethal military biological plan. According to Russian State Duma Deputy Speaker Irina Yarofaya, the Pentagon's claims of apparently peaceful cooperation with the now infamous Ukraine-based biolabs only show that the U.S. was executing a dangerous global military biological program in that East European. Notably, Yarofaya is co-chairing a parliamentary commission probing the operations of biological laboratories in Ukraine. Switzerland joins sixth package of EU sanctions against Russia. Belarus. Switzerland has joined the sixth package of EU sanctions against Russia and Belarus, which includes an embargo on Russian oil. Sanctions have been imposed on 100 individuals and legal entities from both countries. Ukraine warns Russia may briefly freeze war for sanctions relief. Ukraine's military intelligence directorate on Friday warned the Western nations that Russia may briefly freeze war in Ukraine in exchange for the sanctions. The conflict, however, may drag into another year, Ukraine's military intelligence said in a Telegram post, adding that Ukrainian troops are critically outnumbered with respect to the weapons by the Russian soldiers. The Kremlin leadership probably will try to freeze the war for a while in order to convince the West to lift sanctions, but then continue the aggression, the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense's main intelligence directorate said in a Telegram post. Russia's economic resources will allow the occupying country to continue the war at its current pace for another year. DPR hasn't complied with essential fair trial guarantees, says OCHR. UN's Human Rights Office, OCHR, on Friday opposed the death sentences handed to 3 foreign fighters by a court in the separatist-controlled Luhansk People's Republic. Such trials against prisoners of war amount to a war crime, said OCHR spokeswoman Ravina Shamdasani in statement. Since 2015, we have observed that the so-called judiciary in these self-proclaimed republics has not complied with essential fair trial guarantees, such as public hearings, independence, impartiality of the courts and the right not to be compelled to testify, she furthermore added, condemning pro-Russian UK says we don't have regular interaction with Russians. UK has been prioritizing the talks with Ukraine over the 2 British nationals sentenced to death in the DPR, a spokesman for British Prime Minister Boris Johnson told reporters in Britain on Friday. Our priority is working with the Ukrainian government to try and ensure their release as quickly as possible, the spokesman said. He added, we don't have regular interaction with the Russians when asked whether the British government will speak with Russia for release of Sean Pinner and Aidan Slynn. UK Defence Secretary vows to work more closely with Ukraine. UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has vowed to work even more closely with Ukraine during meetings with President Volodymyr Zelensky and Defence Minister Alexei Reznikov. The three agreed to work even more closely going forward in support of their shared goal of enabling Ukraine to liberate itself from illegal Russian occupation, UK Ministry of Defence said in a press release. They also discussed the range of equipment and training the UK is currently providing and what further support we can offer to help Ukrainian forces to defend their country. Russia asks UK to speak directly to DPR over Britain's death sentence. As UK and Russia engaged in a tussle over the death sentence of the foreign British fighters caught by Russian troops during Mariupol battle, Russia's foreign ministry asked the UK to speak directly to authorities, and the British nationals were mercenaries sent by the West to help the Kyiv nationalist regime, and do not have the right to prisoner of war status, Spokeswoman for Russia's Foreign Ministry Maria Zakharova said in a statement posted on the ministry's website. Ukraine's paratrooper shoots down 9 Russian drones. A junior sergeant of Ukraine's 95th Air Assault Brigade has destroyed 9 Russian drones, being one of the most effective anti-aircraft gunners in the Ukrainian armed forces. Press service of the Air Assault Brigade informed on This young paratrooper has already shot down 9 enemy air reconnaissance vehicles that were correcting artillery fire on Ukrainian positions online, the statement said. The paratrooper used the British Starstreak manpads to destroy Russian drones. Russian central bank slashes interest rates second time in 2 months. Russia's central bank has slashed the interest rates for the second time in 2 months to 9.5% from the previous 11% as the inflation was slowing at a much faster rate than was predicted earlier. There was a smaller decline in the spending and economic activity than it was forecasted in the month of April, the bank said in a statement. With new changes, the rate will decrease to between 5% and 7% in 2023, the bank predicts. UK blasts Russia for sham trial of Britain fighters and DPR. British government on Friday blasted the Russian Federation for what it labelled the sham trial of 2 Britain fighters that enlisted under the Ukraine's militaries. Aidan Islin, 28, and Sean Pinner, 48, were handed the death sentence by a court in the DPR by pro-Russia separatist leaders. Officials in Moscow-backed Breakaway Republic accuse the 3 foreign fighters, including Brahim Sadoun, a Moroccan national, of being mercenaries and committing the war crimes. UK has called on Russia to take responsibility for the sham trial of the 2 British nationals who have been sentenced to death. Lavrov says foreign fighters handed death sentence committed crimes. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that 2 British nationals and 1 Moroccan citizen that were handed the death sentence in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, DPR, committed crimes. The trials are being held on the basis of the legislation of the Donetsk People's Republic, because the crimes in question were committed on the DPR's territory, Sergei Lavrov told state-affiliated press.